What's up, Veggie Outers? So this is Elijah Bilel, founder of Veggie Outers, and we have an interview with Tisha Crear, the founder of Recipe Oak Cliff. I'm personally excited for this one in particular in terms of the interviews we're doing, because I personally think that this restaurant's underrated, and we haven't had a chance to come here because we tend to do our meetups, in the evening time. So let's really shine some light on this restaurant, and I appreciate you doing this interview.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you interviewing me.
I appreciate this a light gesture.
That's right. Let me shine some on you too. There you go. Doesn't it feel good?
Appreciate it. Okay. So yeah, let's start off by asking, what inspired you to go vegan personally? Because a lot of people are really intrigued about like a vegan origin story.
Oh, okay. Well, I stopped eating meat when I was 14 years old. I didn't even know the word vegan.
Did it even exist back then?
It did.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it did. There was this hippie girl in my theater class, and she was vegetarian, and she was talking about it, and I never heard of it before. So when I went home, I kind of like had I don't know, it was just like a divine something. And I decided to just kind of challenge myself to see if I could do it. Like, can I not eat meat? Because at the time, I couldn't even imagine the taste of my pancakes without bacon. You know, that combination with the bacon and the syrup, that was good. And so I just wanted to challenge myself. And so I did. And I just started growing and growing and growing in it. You know, my mother was really supportive and helped me translate things like greens and stuff, without the meat in it. But I was hungry, really, really, really hungry for many years, trying to be vegetarian. I ate a lot of grilled cheese at that time, and then I used to eat this stuff back in the day. They used to have this thing called Nature Burger, and it was dehydrated vegetables and seeds, and you'd put hot water and boil it and then make a patty and fry it up. And that's when vegetarians then used to use a lot of more sprouts and a lot more fresh things. Then when I was 17, I moved to New York, and there before me was the entire world and their food. And so just, hanging out with people, like I was saying, people and their grandmamas and stuff, and just eating, So I began to grow and grow, and then that's when I first heard the term vegan. And then vegan meant something really different. Like people were very much about, not wearing leather and things like that. It was,
So
more
the whole lifestyle, not just the diet part.
That's what it meant more than anything when you were vegan back in that time. And so, and then that's also when I started to learn about herbs and healing and cleansing, and and not just like I'm not eating meat, but like what am I eating?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's when that transformation started happening, because I was a cheese addict. I used to go to the deli when I moved to New York. I was vegetarian, had been vegetarian, but I didn't know anything about healthy food.
Right.
And so I used to eat like I want that kind of cheese, stacks of cheese melted on there, mayo. It wasn't meat, And so I went through that. And when I stopped eating dairy and became vegan, that was when I was living in New York, everything changed. My entire body changed. When you stop eating dairy, it's a game changer.
Yes,
for real.
In some ways, dairy is kind of worse than meat.
Okay, seriously, because it's super processed. And so anyway, I know I have a long story, but just to wrap it up real fast, so I learned about herbs. I started really transforming my health. And then years later after that is when my friend had moved to LA, and Dr. Sebi had a shop there in LA. And so that's when I started learning about, more of Sebi things.
Right. Alkaline versus acid, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't really hear those terms a lot. I didn't hear that a lot. But it was more like, just incorporating stuff, more sea moss, more things like that into the diet. Then I spent a couple of years being raw. I was totally raw for a couple of years, and that was beautiful. And that's when I learned so much about just food. Like, what is food? Like, what is flour? What is butter? You know, because I was making every single thing from scratch, even my spices. So that was a excellent exploration, and I think that anybody, vegan or not, should go through that process of just kind of like breaking down, like, what is your food? Like, what is this condiment? Like, what is mayo? What? It's just some whipped oil or whipped egg. What? That's what I'm eating? Or like your desserts, you're like, oh my God, desserts are crazy. It's just like sugar and butter, flour fluffed up. Anyway,
That's
so
the ingredients you can pronounce. And what about the ones you can't?
I mean, that part. But you know, so that's been basically my journey in a short thing.
Powerful journey. Very relatable too. I think a lot of people have little pieces of that journey, but you've kind of gone through it all. I'm assuming that probably played a role in what inspired you to start Recipe Oak Cliff, right?
Yeah. I think that it's important for people to have access to fresh food. You know, like people are like, why aren't you in this neighborhood or why aren't you in that neighborhood? You could be making a lot of money. And yeah, that's true. But I just think it's important for people to have access. So I'm trying to prove a point, which is that, you know, you can be right here in the middle of the hood. You can serve raw food, you know, you can serve live food, you can serve fresh food, you can satisfy the palate, and people can actually heal their body. Well, we're not totally raw. No, there's cooked food in here.
Okay.
But we do have raw food options, you
Right.
know. So the meats like the walnut meat and the falafel balls that I make out of the pumpkin seeds when I make them, and other things.
Right. Well, I can say this, Veggie Outers, one thing that makes Recipe Oak Cliff unique is a lot of vegan restaurants pop up and it's, you know, vegan junk food. That has its place, don't get me wrong. But I really love to see more restaurants that offer, you know, the nutrition that we're missing in the standard American diet. So that's one thing that I personally think makes Recipe Oak Cliff a little unique.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a lot of people are wondering, what's your most popular item on your menu?
I think at first, when we first opened, it was the barbecue jackfruit, you know, because people gonna always want a barbecue sandwich, okay? And so,
Texas.
yeah, so the walnut meat's pretty popular too, which is surprising, you know what I'm saying? So, because it's raw. So, those
Okay.
two are pretty popular. Our burgers are getting up there too, so.
Okay.
Our menu's so small,
Right.
so.
Speaking on the menu, in your opinion, what's the most underrated thing on your menu? Like, you feel like people kind of sleeping on this one thing, it doesn't get enough shine or attention, or people are overlooking it?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything like that. I mean, people, because like I said, everything is kind of, our menus and things are so small, people get the stuff. I mean, I would say sea moss, but people eat, they take it up, you know.
They gobbling that up
The
too.
sea moss drinks, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that people maybe shouldn't underestimate the power of like juice and herbs
Right.
to transform your health. Like, you know, you could do something so simple as taking out soda and milk and replacing that with like fresh juice and change your life. Change your life. Your life.
As an ex-cross country runner, when I was in high school, even before I went vegan, I cut out soda during really after my freshman year, and I did cross country all 4 years. Well, it made a huge difference. That
Changed your
soda-
life, didn't it?
That soda's a killer.
It's a killer. That and stress.
Yeah, man, I know we talked about the alkaline acid diet thing, but some of y'all probably know about the pH levels, and soda has a pH of 2. So I want y'all to think about that. But wrapping up, do you want to name drop the actual address for Recipe Oak Cliff? So people can
Okay,
find you?
so Recipe Oak Cliff at 1831 South Ewing Avenue. We're about a mile up from the Dallas Zoo in Oak Cliff.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you doing this mini interview.
Yeah.
And be sure to pay them a visit, Veggie Outers. All right, we'll catch you in the next video and also the next meetup.